everybody, welcome back friends to another session of Toilet Paper Tube TV, brought to you from the art studio of the Maine Discovery Museum with Miss Trudy. And we are looking at toilet paper tubes this session and how we can turn them into creatures and animals for a whole toilet paper tube zoo or habitats. And when you are trying to make animals or creatures, you need to use your eyes and your brain like scientists and artists. Did you know that scientists and artists look at the world in very similar ways? They look at the whole picture, the big things, the general similarities, what makes this thing, and how is this thing not like that thing, but they also look at every last little detail. Artists need to use their imagination, but so do scientists. So today I'm going to show you how to make two creatures that are very similar in many ways, but also really, really different. The first one is everybody's favorite backyard bandit, the masked trash robber, the common raccoon. I love raccoons. Raccoons are amazing. They're smart, they're hilarious, they're ingenious, they're thrifty and clever, and they adapt. You've probably seen raccoons before. If you have, stay away, they're also kind of grumpy. And if you haven't seen a real raccoon in your backyard, I'm sure you've seen pictures. So raccoons, sort of grayish looking, they're in their own kind of family of animals. They're neither dogs nor cats, but they're sort of looking like dog, cat, weasel sort of creatures, right? I think they're actually a little bit closer related to dogs and foxes than to cats. So they have a sort of like a longer body, they have fur, it's gray, they have 4 paws, they have really cool, amazing little toes, fingers and toes. And what makes a raccoon, the striped tail and the black and white face masks, right? Now there's another creature that has almost the same stuff as a raccoon because it has the same colors and the same patterns or similar patterns, but overall it kind of looks like a Pokemon. It looks a little goofy, and I'm talking about the ring-tailed lemurs. So look at those two creatures. It's kind of amazing how similar they are. They have gray fur, they have weird human-like little fingers and toes and hands. They definitely have a black and white striped tail, and they have striking black and white markings on their faces. And they have pointy ears too. This one is a tropical creature that is arboreal. They live in the trees. And this one is a temperate climate creature that lives pretty much everywhere else. North America, Western Europe, in your backyard, under your porch, in the woods. They can climb, they're really, really, really good climbers, but these guys are specially adapted to climbing because they have this like ridiculous looking tail. So I'm going to show you how to make each one out of toilet paper tubes. How to make a raccoon out of a toilet paper tube. Step 1, pick your toilet paper tube. Raccoons are sort of compact. They're not too long, they're not too skinny, perfect to make out of a toilet paper tube. I've painted my toilet paper tube sort of gray, and I wasn't too fussy about it. I just kind of went for it. I dipped my brush into black and white at the same time, and then just went whoosh, 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 whoosh over everything. And I used tempera paints. I used acrylic paints because acrylic paints dry very fast and they're not very soggy. You can wrap the toilet paper tube in paper that you colored with crayons. You can wrap it in gray paper, and you can use crayons or markers right on the tube. So here we go, a grayish kind of speckled body shape for a raccoon. Raccoons are dog, sort of cat-like creatures regarding what they look like, in that they have poof poof 2 pointy ears. How do you get pointy ears? From this shape, you squish down one side, and you squish down the other side. So if I look at what makes this creature with 4 legs, a tail and fur like a raccoon, I need to look at the details. Once again, we looked at sort of like the big picture, sort of compact body, gray fur, pointy ears, tail, paws, 4 paws. So now let's look at the details. And what is the one thing that everybody knows about raccoons? They look like they have a mask on their face. So once again, we'll start with our generic kind of roundish, sort of rounded triangle kind of face shape. And it's a lot easier to paint dark over white than the other way around. So I'm going to start with white. I'm going to look at my raccoon to see kind of like what does the pattern look like. So he has a black forehead and it kind of connects with the mask, and then he has a little black nose, and then he has a white muzzle, and he has white over his eyes that looks a little bit like eyebrows. Alright, I think I can do that. I think you can too. How should I do this? I think if we go like this, we start the same way we did earlier with the fox. That's a start. Okay, and then let's look at the raccoon one more time. So he has his little shiny, little clever, beady little black eyes. I'm going to use a marker, but you can use colored pencils or pencils again. Okay, so right now that does really not look like a raccoon, right? That could be literally anything from a penguin to an owl. So what makes a raccoon a raccoon? The mask, right? So if you do this, and then here's the nose. So what do you think? Does it look like a raccoon? I think it does. So let me show you a way to make a raccoon face that's a little bit simpler, because I've done a lot of those. But there is a way to make it look even simpler. And again, that's when you use your science and artist eyes and you look at basic shapes. So if you want to make a much simpler raccoon face, you can start with the same basic white cutout. Okay, and ready? And you just make a stripe down the middle. And you color in 2 beady little eyes. Sorry, raccoons. And his little nose. So you cut out an oval and you just color in a big black stripe in the middle. You add your 2 little eyes and your little nose. And it still looks like a raccoon, because that is the detail that makes a raccoon look like a raccoon. So what is missing from our raccoon friend? The raccoon tail and his little front paws. Alright? And for the front paws, I'm just going to draw them on. And they're kind of like the same color as the rest of the fur, except I know their little fingers and hands are a little bit darker, and they actually have weirdly human-like little fingers, because you know that they use them to grub for food in the streams, and they use them to grab little pieces of insects and fruits and any of the other food that they eat. So, there you go. So the only thing that's missing now is the raccoon tail. And what makes a raccoon tail unlike any other tail? Look carefully with your science and artist eyeballs. Raccoon tails are pretty poofy and fluffy because they live in colder climates, and they have stripes. How many stripes do raccoon tails have? I have no idea. I can count the stripes on this raccoon's tail, but here's a good question. Do all raccoons have the same number of stripes on their tails? I don't know. Maybe you can find out. How can you find out? Number one, you can ask a raccoon scientist, a biologist, or a zoologist. Number two, you can find a book. Number three, last choice, ask the internet. So find out and let us know. Post to our Facebook at the Maine Discovery Museum with your parents. Do all raccoons have the same number of stripes on their tail? Yes or no? Alright, let's make a tail. So, same thing. It's easier to start from light and color in the dark stripes than the other way around. But it really doesn't matter that much. It depends on what you have. If you have white paper, you can start with white. If you have gray paper, you can start with gray because the fur is kind of gray. But if you only have black paper, start with the black paper, use a white crayon. I'm going to start with the gray paper. So, what is the shape of a raccoon tail? It's not too fluffy, it's not too pointy. It's sort of like a long, fat kind of sausage. So I'm going to go with that shape. So I think I'm going to go kind of like with this shape. Looks good to me. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 stripes maybe. Find out if that is the standard issue raccoon stripe number on the tail or not. Let's see if I can squish 7 stripes in here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, I'm running out of space. I guess that's it. 5 stripes for you, my friend. And here you go. A 1 backyard raccoon for you.